Hello, my name is Craftsman Giddings and I'm the team manager for League of Legends REME. I'm going to talk you through all of the roles and responsibilities that each lane has in the game. Hopefully I can help you find maybe a role that you want to pick up or just something about the game in general to see if you're interested in it. League of Legends is a big map. It's divided up into two sides, top and bottom, even though it's top right and bottom left, but you've got a nexus on both sides, and the objective of each team ultimately is to defeat the nexus, destroy the nexus, and win the game. Between that, you've got all sorts of different towers. You've got 3 towers on the top side, 3 towers on the bottom side, 3 towers in the middle. You've then got inhibitors, 3 inhibitors for each team. Once those are down, they start spawning super minions. The super minions come through, and pretty much that's sort of the way it goes. And you've got 5 different roles. You've got top, jungle, mid, ADC, and support. Now, each of these roles has their own vital part to play in the game, and it's why it requires a lot of teamwork, especially at a high level. So you need all of your team to be working together. You can't just have one person going off their own, doing their own thing, because it will lose the game. We'll start with top. Top lane tends to be the tanks or bruisers of the game. A lot of the time, they will be on their own in the top lane, farming up, just trying to get powerful for the later team fights. And normally they'll either provide a form of CC in a team fight, or they will provide a frontline damaging slash defense. This requires quite a high level of skill because it tends to be a solo, well, it is a solo lane. It's sort of on its own in the top lane where sort of nobody tends to go. And you need to be quite confident and strong in yourself because, as I say, it is a solo lane. You're against somebody else who's a top laner, and if they are better than you or if they outskill you, then you'll end up just falling behind and you won't be able to get strong enough to be able to win in those team fights. Next, we'll move on to jungle. Jungle can be a wide variety of champions. This can be your CC, this can be your frontline tank, this can be your damage, this can be your engage, it can be anything. All of your strength comes from killing your camps. You've got 3 on the top side and 3 on the bottom side. Each of those sides has a buff either side, normally called red or blue buff, and they will give you either lifesteal, health, or increased mana regen. It depends on the kind of champion as to which one you want to go first. The role of the jungler really is to gank lanes, or one of 3 things. Gank lanes, farm up until you're really strong and end up killing all the enemy team, or sort of a mixture of both. There are certain champions that are better at early, better at late. They're good in the middle. It depends on what champion you choose and the kind of playstyle you take. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of neutral tank camps to take as well, and you're sort of in charge of trying to take these things and trying to get your team ahead. You've got the Drakes, which they're for each team can have 4 of them, and there's 4 different types of Drakes. And you'll understand that more as you get onto the game. It's sort of not really relevant for just the... So, as a jungler, it is a very vital role for you, because you're sort of in charge of the game in a lot of sense, because you have a lot of influence all over the map. You can go top lane, mid, bot lane, any of them. And you can really make a big effect on the game if you get good ganks off and if you're farming well. This tends to be quite a pinnacle role, especially in lower ranks, because you can just steamroll a game purely by yourself by steamrolling everybody else. Mid lane. Mid lane is also a very impactful role. All of them are impactful roles, but mid lane can be one of the more steamrolly ones because you're in the middle of the map. You can have effect everywhere. You can have effect in the top, you can have effect in the bottom, you can have effect in the jungle. And this is normally played by mages or assassins or things like that. Again, you can play anyone in any lane, but this is what it tends to be. It tends to be mages or assassins. And these are the ones that tend to scale later rather than early. There are some mid laners that do well in the early game, but 9 times out of 10, you'll have the sort of late scaling champions like Caston, like Kale and things like that. Your job early is to try and farm up and then when you're powerful enough to take somebody on in a 2v1, you should start roaming. Start roaming top, start roaming bottom, into the jungle, try and get vision down, try and help your team with the Rift Herald or with the Drakes. This tends to be the lane that is the one that pops off early. If you do well in the early game, you can set your team up really well in the late game. It doesn't matter, because mid laners tend to sort of get outscaled in the very late stage of the game, because they just tend to be sort of utilities for the team. And they tend to have some form of CC. They tend to have some form of damage, but all of that together isn't always enough damage to do to kill the enemy team. So into the sort of the later game, they will need help killing people. But next, we've got the ADC and support. They're in the same lane, but I'll go for ADC first. ADC is attack, damage, carry. Now, this is the role given to somebody who, believe it or not, scales off of attack damage normally. And they can be the carries, even though it sort of changes from season to season because of the changes that they make in-game. These are the champions that are pretty squishy and tend to deal a lot of damage if given the opportunity. They tend to be weak early game, before level 6 normally. Some of them have power spikes in between, and pretty much they are squishy all game, which sort of brings into the support. The support is the job of the support is to early game keep your ADC alive, and to try and set up opportunities for your ADC to get kills. Once sort of the first 5 minutes of the game have gone, you can start looking to roam, or you can start looking to make plays into the Drakes or the Rift Herald, or mid or top. It depends on the kind of playstyle you want to take. You can take on a playstyle of a tank and just purely protect your ADC and never let them die, never leave their side. But it purely depends on your kind of team comp and the way that the game goes. Sometimes it may be better for you to leave your ADC and go and help your mid laner, or your jungler, or your top laner. Sometimes it may be better to stay with your ADC and let them get fed and snowball and things like that. So yeah, those are sort of the 5 roles. They're a very sort of quick rundown of the roles. It will not give you a full tutorial of the game whatsoever. If you need any help, you can always come to anybody that plays the game, and or what I've found is best is just to play the game yourself, see how it goes. There's a tutorial on the game. There's a lot of practicing tools that you can use, and the best thing to do, honestly, is just play. If you want to find your role. Quick summary of that then. So, top laners tend to be the tank / bruiser kind of champions. They're sort of on their own in the top lane. Try and farm up, get fed, and get a lot of gold in your pocket. And in the later team fights, you can sort of really help out your team by either tanking or dealing out a lot of damage in CC. Jungler, get all your camps in between the lanes. Try and get the Drakes and the Rift Heralds and the Barons. Help out your team with ganks. If they're getting pushed in, then you gank them. Try and get some kills there for that lane, and then steamroll it. Mid lane, you have a lot of map pressure because you are in the middle. You tend to have a lot of movement abilities depending on the champion you kind of play. Some of them have global ultimates, so you can go anywhere in the map and help out your team. Try and get down vision, try and get a good CS lead, and try and make sure we've got map control through the mid lane. ADC and support then, they're in the bot lane. It's a duo lane, and their objective is to try and just get the ADC as much gold in their pocket as possible, get them powerful, get them done, and then win some team fights. So yeah, that's the quick rundown. If you need any more help, let me know. I'm always on Discord. Yeah, thanks for listening.